Good morning, party
morning.
people! It's early for us.
It is really early.
But we're so excited. We're going on another adventure today. You want to tell them what we're doing?
Yeah, we are heading up to the Mourne Mountains. We're heading to Spelga Dam to do some plein air, which in French means painting outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we are going to be painting outside. And we're going to be hanging out and painting what we see up there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So we're on our way. We're in clock, and we stopped for some wraps.
Need some fuel, some coffee.
We're hanging out with the Iron Man farmer and his cow. And but yeah, we'll see you guys there.
We are deep in the Mourne Mountains today at one of our favorite places. Today, we're going to be painting at Spelga Dam. Spelga is known for some gorgeous views, the beautiful reservoir, and the magic hill. The dam here is over 60 years old, and if you're drinking tap water in Ban Bridge, it's from here. We come here a lot to hike. As great and beautiful as it looks today, this is what it was like 3 days ago. Spring in Northern Ireland is definitely fun. Let's get set up. We found a flat spot with a great view and have our easel ready to go. Here's what you'll need to do your plein air project. Pencils, paintbrushes, water, a towel, acrylic paints, or colored pencils, markers, really anything. The goal is to get outside and be creative and draw or paint what you see. So you can use whatever you have that's handy. I'm going to get my water ready for my brushes, my towel out for drying my brushes, and lock in the canvas so I can start painting. If you have a table, sketchbook, or a hard surface you can use, that works just as well too. Our first step is to cover the canvas in light gray. You don't have to do this, but when you're painting this fast, sometimes there are little spots and gaps that you don't cover with paint. So we do an underpainting so that the bright white of the plain canvas doesn't show through. All right, Leo, why don't you tell us all about how to find a perfect spot to do some plein air?
No problem, Miss Brooke. First, find your picture. What exactly do you want to paint? What is it going to look like on paper? How does everything look together? This is called a composition. Use your fingers to make a frame so you can imagine what it's going to look like. This will help you find your composition and look really artsy like Miss Brooke. Next is the focal point. This is the thing that you want to focus on in your painting. For us, we have water, mountains, grass, but we really like those trees, so Miss Brooke is going to paint them as our focal point. They'll get more color, more detail, and we're going to make everything flow into those trees. Focal point? Got it. Once you have a focal point, then you can find your foreground, middle ground, and background. The things that are close up, in the middle, and far away. We've got all three. Oh yeah. And our focal point fits perfectly in our middle ground. When drawing, things that are far away are going to look smaller, and things that are close up are going to look bigger. The last thing you need for a perfect plein air spot is lots of different shapes, colors, and textures. In our painting, we have grass, water, sky, rocks, trees, and mountains. That's going to make our painting really interesting. Boom! All right, Brooke, let's get painting.
Plein air is all about painting the outdoors quickly and loosely. Don't worry about lots of details. We're trying to capture what we see, the light, the shadows, the colors, and maybe some happy little trees. With a pencil or small to medium-sized brush, block out all the big shapes and break up the painting into different areas that Leo talked about: foreground, middle ground, and background. Again, try to do this quickly and lightly. Start at the furthest part away from you and then work your way forward. The farthest thing from me is the sky over these mountains, Sleeve Muck and Pigeon Rock. Today, the sky is a very light blue, so I quickly mixed up a blue and with a wide brush filled in the sky. The next shapes closest to me are those mountains. They have some dark blue shadows on them from the clouds, but overall, they are a light green and gray-yellow color. So I'm going to use my palette to mix up a color like that and lightly fill in the mountain space. The mountains look really hazy from this far. Remember to stay light. The further away something is from you, the lighter in color it will be. Now we're going to block in our focal point. At the very end, we will put in our trees, but for now, we'll just fill out the little piece of land that juts out into the water. Now the foreground, this is the area closest to us. These grasses here are a very yellow-green, almost tan in color. I also see a lot of green moss, so I'm gonna mix some of that too. I'll come back and do the details later. Next, we're going to fill in the water in the reservoir. Water is almost like a mirror to the sky, so they'll be similar colors. I'm gonna mix a similar light blue to the one that I made for the sky. Now let's start with some details. Start at the farthest point from you and work your way forward. The next layer is our mountains. We need to give them some more definition. Leo, what colors do you see on the mountain that we can add to give them more detail?
It looks like the sun is putting some yellow on those mountains.
I see that too. It looks like the sunlight is peeking through here, so we're gonna put some brighter grass along the edge. All right, along the shore, we've got some shadows, and along the top of the inlet, we've got a lot of sun. Now we're gonna lighten up our foreground a bit and try to cover the canvas a little more. Along the horizon, the water turns lighter and lighter, so we're gonna get a very light blue along the edge of the reservoir. Hey Leo, what's the first thing that you see in the sky other than the blue?
Clouds.
That's right. I'm making a watered down white with a teeny bit of blue in it to quickly paint in the clouds that I see. Now for our trees. Because you'll want to be able to see through them, you'll want to try to paint each tree trunk individually. These trees are very wet from the snow and rain we've had recently, so I'm seeing a little bit of dark blue and dark purple colors in the bark of the trees. So I'm going to mix that with my tree dark brown. I am using the smallest brush that I can find to do this so that I have nice and crisp edges on my trees and branches. Underneath the trees here, there's a lot of shadows, but there's also little flecks of light peeking through. So I'm gonna put some dabs of yellow in these spots. Now, water is always moving, so there's always some fun details to find there. I can see that the current is making teeny tiny waves come into the shore near where I'm standing. So I'm gonna make these little waves with a darker blue with a good bit of water mixed into it by painting lines that are parallel to the shoreline. Because of the reflection on the water, some lines will be darker, but others will be lighter. Making water takes a lot of time and blending because there's a lot of texture to it and light. As the waves go further away, they get thinner and more parallel to the horizon line. We're also going to put in some rocks on the water's edge. I'm going to give each rock its own little shadow. To get the shore just right, we need to make sure that these rocks look great. Now I'm going to go back over to the trees and do their branches. Branches will look different from tree to tree, but a good rule is to start with the largest branches, then go back and build the smaller branches of the trees. These take a lot of work to look good, so I'll work on these details back in the studio after we get home. To put some detail in the foreground, we're going to paint some yellow blades of grass. So, how do you know when you're done? Well, we were out at Spelga painting for a little over an hour today. It's really up to you how much detail you want to put in. We're taking some photos of our spots so that we can add more details when we get home. Make sure that when you're creating outdoors that you leave the place much better than you found it. All right, party people, I think it's time to head home. All right, we are back at the Party Create studio and we are gonna add some more details to our painting.
Yeah, we're almost done.
To finish off our painting, we are going to use markers and paint pens to tighten up our focal point. We took lots of photos of the trees when we were outside, and I'm looking at those for reference while I'm drawing. The main colors here on the trees are the dark evergreen of the pine needles and the dark blue-brown wood of the trees. There's a lot of shadows in here and specks of light shining through too. Again, when doing plein air, just remember to draw exactly what you see. If you do that, your painting will turn out beautifully.
Wow, that was so much fun! Now it's your turn. Go get your supplies, go into your back garden, and create what you see.
That's right, and send us a picture. We would love to see your plein air and what you create.
Yeah.
And if you like this video, make sure you hit like and give us a subscribe.
Oh yeah.
Bye, party people!
Bye! Oh, you thought we were done? Miss Brooke's not the only one making videos in the mornings today. Yeah.